Welcome, everyone. We'll get started here in just a minute or so. We're giving people a chance to get connected. Thanks for being here. Hey, good afternoon. My name is Lauren Williams. I'm Adult and Community Services Manager for the Columbia Public Library, which is part of the Daniel Boone Regional Library System. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn, where we will be hearing from Charles Stevenson II, Executive Director of Powerhouse Community Development. Today's Lunch and Learn is co-sponsored by the Library and the League of Women Voters of Columbia-Boone County. Before we begin our program, just a couple of Zoom housekeeping items. We'll be using the chat feature of Zoom for questions today. So you should see that chat icon. It looks like a speech bubble, and other tools at the bottom or the top of your screen if you're on a computer. If you're on a tablet or a smartphone, to view the chat, you may need to tap in the middle of the screen to have those tools or menus appear. We are recording today's presentation, so it will be available in the next day or two on both the League's YouTube channel and the library's YouTube channel for future viewing. And now I'd like to welcome our moderator, Barbara Hoppy, with the League of Women Voters of Columbia-Boone County. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Lauren, and thank you to the Columbia Public Library for co-sponsoring this and being able to shift to Zoom on a snowy day. I'm really pleased today to introduce Charles Stevenson II, Executive Director of Powerhouse Community Development and Senior Pastor at Powerhouse Ministries. He will share information about this organization, which engages, educates, equips, and empowers Boone County and other communities in Missouri. Their programs range from food to recovery support services to parenting and GED classes. And this is the group that also has taken over the Everybody Eats Thanksgiving program that Almeta Creighton started 25 years ago. So welcome, Mr. Stevenson, and we look forward to hearing so much about you and your program.
Great. Good morning, everyone. I am excited to be here on this Zoom call today. I know everybody's probably bundled in at home and everything. Getting up this morning was probably a challenge since you're at home, but I'm glad to be able to share this. I'm honored to be a part of Columbia. I moved here about 4.5 years ago and I've been a resident since, and so I'm excited to be in this great city. And it's been a wonderful experience, and it's had its highs and lows, but it's definitely been a wonderful experience to integrate into this community. There's so many great agencies that do such great work and organizations in this city, and I was just amazed coming from a little town of Marshall where it's like a one-horse pony town, and to be able to be here, and to see so many different people working collectively to empower their community. So with that being said, we'll get started. Presentation, hopefully about 20-25 minutes. I'm going to try to condense it. I am a preacher, so I've been known to talk a lot, but we're going to try to contain the conversation, commit time at the end to be able to address any questions that you all might have. As they predicted, I'm the Executive Director of Powerhouse Community Development Corporation. It was founded in 2008. We've been doing community outreach work for over 17 years. We started in the city of Marshall, and then in 2010, we opened up a satellite office in Sedalia. In 2013, we opened up a satellite office in Versailles, Missouri. In 2019, I believe we came here to Columbia in the midst of COVID and was challenged with feeding the community. And I'll tell you a bit more about that, our feeding program. But with school being out, we ran a summer food program, and we were asked to feed the kids at home. And we did over 2,000 meals a day for a little over a year, going door to door, and it was quite a challenge in the winter, meeting the needs, but we were able to keep the kids fed. And then in 2022, we opened up an office in Mobley in Randolph County. I'm also a senior pastor. I've been pastor for over right at 24 years. It's amazing. The job before this, I never kept over 6 years. Always transition. And when I got to my 6 years of pastoralship, I got a little worried if this is something I really wanted to do is what God wanted me to do. But I've been here 24 years, and I'm really excited about the work I do on both fronts. We're going to begin the day as we move into the next slide. Just kind of share a little about our agency. Our mission is to, may I go back? I want to speak volume to the first slide. I'm sorry. They had it on the first slide, the engage. We have a thing that says engage, educate, equipped, and empower. And those 4 E's are essential in all the work that we do. because we meet people where they are. A lot of times when you do an outreach service, you have to have enrollment standards for people to come in, but we try very, very hard, even though we've got enrollment standards to bring people in our program. We know people are at different reading levels. They're at different mental health levels. And so our programs are designed to be able to adapt to provide service to those individuals. Some individuals come to us, they're unable to read, so they cannot do their intake by themselves. So we do them with them. They're not computerly challenged, and we do that part of the work with them. A lot of our clients are challenged with connecting to resources, so we do that with them. And so we try to engage them at whatever level they are based on our first assessment. Then we begin to educate, provide information. And then after we provide educational, because sometimes you can give people resources and they don't know how to handle resources. And we believe that's important to teach people about reciprocity in this process. Equip, provide the skills and the resources and the trainings for them to be successful, all in efforts to empower them that they can take charge of their own lives. This brings us to our mission, which is to strengthen individuals and families by providing services that improve the quality of life. At the end of the day, everyone wants to live a better life. Even people that make bad choices, a lot of time, from their perspective, they're trying to make decisions that's going to move them toward the lifestyle that they want. A lot of times they don't realize the consequences of the choices, but at that time they're in survival mode and they're making choices based on where they are instead of where they want to be. And so our mission is to strengthen individuals and families, give them the resources, the skills that they need, and the training in some cases to be better citizens. And we do that through providing different services. When we started, we were just looking at working with youth. But as we begin to work with youth, we realized there's a lot of single parents out there that were striving to raise their kids. 42% of the most impoverished families are single parent households. And there were just a lot of mothers that wanted their kids in a service and program, but they didn't have accessibility. They had no form of transportation. So as we begin to provide services, we always focus, what are the barriers that are keeping people from accessing the services that we have? I discovered that we have a lot of wonderful services, but a lot of times there's barriers. And many times, from our perspective, if we're doing well in life, we can't imagine some of the simple things that may be barriers to other people that we take for granted. And so we try to be more sensitive to those types of issues in providing our services. And we try to, in some of our questionnaires, capture that information from the population we're serving so that we make sure that we can serve them both effectively and efficiently, because we want to see their lives improve. Our mission is the global implementation mission that results in people living a self-sufficient, enriched, and rewarding life. Self-sufficiency is very, very important to me. Early in my work of community service, I realized that at the end of the day, I wanted to see people self-sufficient. A lot of times I say things that many nonprofit organizations say that I don't say, but it should be all our core ideology is, I want to provide services to the point that I'm not needed anymore. I know that sounds crazy because we get our funding based on serving more people. And every year we try to serve more and more, but we have to serve more and more means a greater need. And my ultimate goal is to reduce food hunger, to reduce lack of education, to reduce the number of people that can't read. And so it's about improving the quality of life where people become self-sufficient. So I hope someday that I can work myself out of a job. I don't know if that's realistic thinking, but that is the approach when I do the work we do. Some of the core services that we have is our family enrichment, and I'll talk a bit more about these. These are just the core services. Health education. We believe health education, we're talking about the mental health here, not just the physical, and the nutritional wellness services speak volume to that. But we believe people have to have an understanding of life practices, life philosophy that is very essential in leading a healthy life. Proper rest is one. Exercise. There's so many things that they can do, and even learning how to cope with different things, coping mechanism. All those things are important to helping people be successful in life. We're definitely big on nutrition and wellness, is resource development, community engagement, youth empowerment, and youth early reading intervention. We'll go to the next slide. Some of the programs we have around those areas is our Power of Hope, which is our recovery support and mental health treatment programming. Fresh Start, which is our transitional housing. Heat for Her, Heat and Heat for Her, which is our drug court program, which we meet with different individuals that are in the drug courts that have lived very challenging lives and experienced a lot of trauma in life. And so that's a program that's unique in itself. Fathers Committed to Families, which is one that I cherish, being a father and raising kids, and knowing the important role that the father plays in the lives of his kids and his family. Boys and Men, which is our adolescent development program. Powerhouse Family Healing. As we were working with substance abuse and people coming from substance abuse mental health, we realized that they had done damage to their family as well. And a lot of times they're going back home trying to engage their family, and the family's not healed. They did some things that really impacted the family, and they want their family back, but there's got to be a healing process. So we have a family healing program, which is inclusive of the family and therapy and activity assessments. Healthy Choice, which is a new program that we rolled out in the last 2 years. It has evolved. It is a combination of a parenting educational class and also in-school and after-school life skills and mentorship for youth. As we were working with youth, we decided that it's necessary in many, many cases to assist and work with that single mother who's doing all she knows how to do to provide for her children. A lot of these mothers sometimes got pregnant at an early age, at 17, and by the time they were 22, then they had 3 kids. And so it isn't that they don't necessarily know all the things they should do. They're broken. A lot of these girls have gone through trauma themselves and need healing. And so we've created a parental education, a parental programming that assists them with parental assistance in not only training and parental, but even coping skills, how to deal with their own trauma. And so it's pretty extensive, and I'll talk more about that as we get to that section. Youth Power is our activities. We do a lot of events throughout the year for youth to empower them, and we'll speak a little bit more of that as we reach program. And then Camp I Love Me, which is our summer camp, which we have about over 100 kids every summer, the last 2 summers, that we take for 10 weeks and work with them throughout the summer. Every week they go to a different field trip. During the daytime, we do educational enrichment and activities. I'll talk a little more about that too when we get to that section. And then we feed families, which is our congregation and non-congregational food programming. We'll go to the next slide. Power of Hope is our recovery program. Right now we work with about 850 to 900 individuals a year coming out of the penal system. Many of those are coming out back to our communities. A lot of them don't have resources. A lot of them have limited education, and we're expecting them to re-engage back in the community. That's a real big challenge for felons to get back in the community once they've been branded. And so we help them navigate with employment training, conflict resolution, workplace ethics. And so they usually get a case manager that works with them on one-on-one. They also have a therapist that's there to work with them, to work with if they have substance abuse or mental health issues. They have class facilitation. We all offer a smorgasbord of classes. So when someone comes in our program, they will have classes 2 to 3 days a week that they come to. It may be anger management. It may be substance usage disorder. It may be co-parenting. It may be life skills. But based on the assessment and their input, we select with them. They have very much input in their needs based on the assessments. They're able to get the services available. I see a question popped up. Could you tell us about your funding? This funding is through Department of Mental Health. Our bulk of the funding for this comes through Department of Mental Health. They have what they call recovery support services. Originally, that was not a part of DMH's budget. It was a federal grant they wrote about 20 years ago that was designed to get faith-based organizations involved in recovery because the data suggested that faith-based organizations could do the services more intimate and for a lot lower cost, and they were more effective because the faith-based organizations helped them reconnect in the community with people. And so it was a big initiative that began back with a federal grant. It ended in 2017, and there was no more federal funding. Our group that had formulated then across the state, Missouri Recovery Coalition, was created, and we petitioned the Congress to put money in Department of Health's budget. And so we were successful in getting them to put money in the budget to do recovery support services. And so that's where part of our funding comes from, is from recovery support services. Other funding comes from federal grants that we have written. We've got a federal HRSA grant, a 40-year grant that we've written that helps provide services for that as well. And then, of course, we have a contract with OSCA, the drug court, and we'll talk a bit more about that when we get to HEAT. But this is a unique program. A lot of time people get treatment, especially in rural community. They have to leave the community to go get treatment, and then they come back to the community, and there's no services to keep them engaged. And so the only things there is the same traps and triggers they had before. And so we really work to put these recovery support centers in some of the different communities. So once they're finished with treatment, they have entities there that are able to help them navigate for the next 6 months to a year or even longer. So they might be successful in reintegrating back into the community. We do some child support advocacy and life skills training as well. We are a certified, what they call it, we're a certified center for people who has supervised visitation. So if someone has supervised visitation, we have space in our building that's been certified by the state. They send them there, and we monitor while they engage their children. A lot of that is beneficial to us because a lot of our clients have lost child rights, and so we work with them in a reintegration plan to reconnect them with their children in a proper manner and supervise them and keep track to see if they're moving in the right direction. And then we make a suggestion to the courts that, we think they're ready for the next level. We also collaborate with our local justice agency to reduce recidivism. Next slide. Right along with that is our Fresh Start, which is our transitional housing. It was designed to provide safe, stable, and housing environment for those in recovery. To come out of prison and come home, you have to have a recovery plan, home plan. Many times individuals are coming back into the same house, same neighborhood where they use drugs. Unfortunately, it's not beneficial for many because a lot of times people in those houses are still using drugs. They just never got caught yet. And mom's still drinking, just never got caught yet. It hasn't been determined that she needs help. And so having a safe place where they can come after they've been locked up and made a decision that they want to improve their quality of life, housing is very, very important for those returning from the penal system. Some don't have as broken all relationships and bridges and can't go back home, so they have nowhere to go. You'd be surprised the number of people that are held up in prison after they've done their time because they don't have a home plan. And so there's people who have been in prison 3, 6, 7 months longer because they don't have a home plan. And some of the state facilities don't have a bed available. And so Fresh Start is a NAR certified transitional house, part of the MOCRIPS brand. I think across the state, we got some 8,000 beds available for ex-offenders for men and women. And we've seen such great success rate for these individuals coming out into a structured environment, giving roles, responsibility of finding employment, going to classes, helping them build their life step by step, stage by stage. And we've seen it be very beneficial to many who would have probably came out and returned to prison within 3 to 6 months. I'll talk more about the food toward the end too, but we provide many, many resources for the individuals. And what we have done at Powerhouse is it started out providing these services for those in our program, but because of the connections we've made, the relationship we built, we began to get more food, more clothes, more stuff from Amazon than we could need it. And so we just began to share it with the greater community. This is still aimed to reduce recidivism and foster long-term stability. Next slide. The next program is our HEAT and our HEAT for Her. This is Habilitation, Empowerment, Accountability Therapy. And it's been very effective with minorities and with women. One of the reasons it has been is that cognitive behavioral therapy is built on the premises that was mostly objective. The older research was done with heterosexual white men, and so there was no research done with women or minorities. And so it was never tested to validate, it's just used. But what they're finding in therapy is that habilitation, empowerment, accountability therapy takes into consideration not only objective, it's subjective. And what we've discovered is that people who have been marginalized, people who have been abused, they need to speak about their hurt. They need to be able to talk about their struggles. And same thing with women. Women love to communicate. And so this therapeutic process says this: if you plant an apple seed, you should not expect oranges. I just said something right there. You don't plant an apple seed and expect oranges to pop up on the tree. So how can we expect these individuals to live in poverty, to live in discrimination, to live in high crime neighborhoods and violence, excessive pattern abuse, and be normal? That's just not a reality. And so what this therapy does is say, hey, how was your experience? So they get listened to and heard before we move into some of the strategies to help them improve their life. And so we've seen people unpack and really get healed in some of these sessions to feel they're heard, that they're not just, because a lot of times people say their experiences that's been marginalized, and we blow over it. Okay, don't worry about that, move on. Well, they can't. They're broke there. And so this therapy takes time to really listen and to really help them navigate at their rate through some of the hurts, some of the brokenness, some of the pains that they've experienced in life. And even though it was developed originally for Afro-American men, it is expanded. We've been so successful with this in the Boone County courts. When we started working with Boone County courts, only 9% of minorities graduated, of any race, graduated drug court. We were selected as a pilot, working with Commissioner Clevenger, who I take my hat off to, has done a great work getting engaged in these services and learning and providing all the resources that we could need to be successful. They gave us 30 individuals for 14 months. They had to go, it's a long program, 14 months without any recidivism. And we were able to graduate 26 individuals out of 30, 88.9% efficiency rate, which led the nation. And the 13th court, along with Powerhouse, received an award at the National Drug Conference in Washington, D.C. for leading the nation in success rate. So this has been very effective. It has also worked with impoverished Caucasian people. So it's really a marginalized program to allow people to be heard. And I want to say it that way because sometimes we just tailor it to an ethnicity when it really should be tailored to a culture, and so it's more of a cultural perspective. And so they've seen it be effective with the younger millennials between the ages of 18 and 40. This therapy works better than any therapy they've seen. As you can see, some of the reduction in court calls per $1 that is spent in the first 2 years is a $2.80 return. In the second year, you see it's about a 1-to-6 ratio. And so we have high retention and graduating rates and improving treatment outcomes and community reintegration. Next slide. I'm trying to move a little fast. We've got so many programs at Powerhouse. It's been just every time there's a need and no one's providing the need, we create a program, because if someone else is doing a program, we try to partnership and refer people there. But if no one is doing the program or the program that exists is not available for the client we serve, then we create a program. We had a situation where in Marshall one time where they were doing GED and we were supplying individuals, but it only was in the daytime hours. And so individuals started getting employed and they couldn't go to GED and work at the same time, but they were ordered by the court. So we created a GED program in the evening for those that couldn't go in the daytime. So a lot of times people ask why you have so many programs. So that's why we have so many programs, trying to meet the needs of the clients that we serve, the 900 individuals plus those communities that come into our program. Fathers come into families is again what I cherish more than anything, because I feel father absent is at the core of the social programs in the United States. Matter of fact, most social programs exist are existing because fathers not engaged in a family's life. When a father's engaged in the family life doing what he's supposed to do, the family rises above the poverty level and they're not even accessible to some of the services they are now. And so we strive to help fathers be committed and get back in the lives of their family. Some of the key statistics here is over 2.2 million U.S. fathers raise children in single parents household. Okay, that sounds good, but 19 million kids live without a father in the household. 52% of Americans' kids grow up without a father figure in the house. And here you can see 17% of the custodial parents today are fathers. So there's a lot of fathers who are being good fathers with their children, because we're seeing, and I don't know if a lot of people realize this, the number of women going to prison has increased dramatically. Good Dads is a new program that just came to Columbia. We've been in Columbia for 5 years. They run a program. I think the difference between ours and Good Dads is more of a class. Ours is a whole program. When individuals come in our program, not only do we talk to them about fatherhood and father development, but we do case management with them. We do employment opportunities with them. We re-engage relationship do co-parenting class with them and the parent and the other mother. So we do a lot of programmatic work around that. The other thing that we look at, we do a thing called male development. And that's important because in our culture, a lot of our boys are getting into the legal system in the adolescent stage when the father's supposed to be there. So they've never seen a role model. How can they model, emulate something they have not seen? And so we do fatherhood development. We don't just do a class. And our curriculum is designed for those fathers and those kids who have not had a father. Good Dad's curriculum is more designed for fathers that just want to be better fathers. But we're talking about men that don't have a clue what father looks like, never had a man role model in his house, and they need men mentors all around them to help them understand what a man do. First thing I ask when a man come in my class is, do you love your children? Raise your hand. And they raise their hand. I ask them, would you die for your children? And guess what they all do? They raise their hand. I said, I got one more question. Will you live for your children? I don't need you to die. I need you to stay in the game. If it means being Bobo the Fool, if it means working 2 jobs, if it means putting up with Big Mama, are you willing to stay? Are your kids that important to stay in their lives? So we don't just do a class. We walk with them. A lot of them in our program end up, they may not be able to see their kids for the first 3 months, but we're talking to them about the things they need to do to see their kids. Sometimes they have really hurt that lady, and we talk about, you got to make amends with that woman. That's that child's mother. We teach them to love that child's mother just like they love their child. And so we do a lot of programmatic work. I hope this explains, I hope I'm answering your question. This explains the work we do. Also, we are Powerhouse is from Family Support Division, Children Division, we are the recognized agency by the state of Missouri. They selected us. There was a process, and they selected us and gave us the Central Missouri region. So this is the region assigned to us by the state to provide fatherhood and growth fatherhood programs throughout Central Missouri. Thank you for asking that question. But they do good work. I don't want to, anybody's doing the work and help these fathers improve is on the right track. We're just a little bit more intense. And I think you hear that in my voice. I hold men accountable. I hold men accountable. Amen. I hold men accountable. I was teaching them the other day, before you even think about getting a relationship with a woman, you need to get a job, you need to have a home, you need to have those things before you get a relationship. You don't wait till you say, I'll get them later. No, you get them before. You ought to have that already before you get it. You're not ready for a relationship if you ain't got a job. I'm just strong on that. If you ain't got your own home, don't live with your mama. You need your own home. You can't move in with them. You can't move in on a woman. She's on Section 8. You need to get a place. You need to stand up and be a man. So I'm very strong on that when it comes to father, and I produce strong men. I do. I'm just telling you, I produce strong men. Let's move on. I'm gonna keep moving. Boys to men. As we were working with these fathers, we realized that these boys have been broken in the teenage age. The dad's not there, and so we're now having programs around, and we're in some of the schools now here in Columbia. In the schools, working with these boys in the adolescent stage, teaching them to be men. There used to be a saying, it's better to build strong boys than repair broken men. We spend too much time trying to repair broken men when we should have helped them transition from manhood, from boyhood to manhood. And so our energy is really working, helping these boys become men. Now, I know I'm running low on my time, so I'm going to move quickly. Next slide. Our Powerhouse is our family healing program. As I said before, it's geared toward family members who have suffered and been through a lot, and you ask them to let the man to come back or the woman to come back in the homes, they don't feel confident. They're not trusting yet. This person has been living foul for 10 years, and now in 4 months, you want them to believe they've changed. And so we have to work with that family to bring healing and processes so that they can have a pathway, or even if there is a pathway, for them to come together. Some of the healing might mean they come back together and live together as a family. And sometimes it means co-parenting, and so we don't push it. He's got to come back home. We just want to find out what worked for that family individually. And we have therapists that works with that program, and someone who's also is on the other side is almost like Ellen, someone that has been hurt is there to help that family member as they readjust. Oh, thank you. Okay. I want to make sure, Ms. Barber, I don't want to be respectful of time, but this program is one that we're only one of 2 agencies in the state that has with departmental health funds this, and so they selected us. We had a bid, but we were selected as a pilot for this family project, and so as we're working with those in recovery. Usually around month 3. Our program is designed in 3 phases. One, the first phase is you. Whoever comes our program, we're going to spend the first 12 weeks working on you. If you're no good to yourself, you're no good to anybody else. We've got to help you get it together. We got to help you come to grips with your past and your hurts and brokenness. Phase 2 is now we want to reintegrate them with their family. So in phase 2 is when we include the family healing process, where now you interact with your family, begin to engage with them. We talked about how it's going. I think that's the thing I like best is they're giving weekly initiative, and they may come back and they supposed to have a family outing. We want to know how it went. How did it go being in the same room with your ex, with your children? Because sometimes they've not seen them yet, and we want to know how it went. The pros and cons, having a family healing, we're now able to ask the lady, how did it go? How do you think it went? So it's just not taking the person in our program's perspective. We're looking at her perspective. She's being heard too, as we reintegrate. And if she feels comfortable in the same setting, is important to us. We're not going to just push her in on him. We want her to feel comfortable because this is therapy for her as well. This is we're just really starting this the last year and a half, and we're really beginning to see this area begin to grow more and more and more. And so we, even in this family healing, we've had individuals who they may not be reconciling with their mate, but they yet need healing from what happened to them with their mate. And so and their children needs it. And they're seeing some of the same tendencies in their children that was in their mate, and they're concerned about it. This is really a powerful healing session with some awesome topics. Let's go to the next slide. Healthy Choice is another program. It's twofold, as said. One part is we're in the schools. Again, we started this with the Children Division. Department of Social Services had wrote a federal grant, and there was 10 awards, and somehow they were successful in getting 2. One of the classes was designed for in school for the 7th, 8th graders, and it was designed to build leadership qualities in kids. And then our high school program is Parenthood Can Wait, where we're trying to work with kids and discourage or encourage not getting the lack of pregnancy early in their lives, and talks about goal setting. And it really is a real good curriculum, interactive curriculum with them in the school. And so we've been successful in going into the schools in Columbia, in Marshall and Slater, Boonville. So we're in the schools with both of these programming, and it's been amazing. Just recently, this last year, the elementary school wanted us to do a prevention with them with this. And so we went into the elementary school, Alpha Hart, Lewis, and it's been phenomenal. They really love it out there. We're actually getting ready to go on our second elementary school because we're seeing the work needs to be done in prevention and intervention if we're going to really slow down or stop teenage pregnancy, community gun violence with youth, and give them the pathways to success. We need to do that in the prevention and intervention area, which is our early childhood and adolescent stage of development. By age 7, and some of you all probably know in this field, 70% of the brain is already developed. They've already developed traits and skills, whether they're secure, insecure, all that is beginning to be developed at an early stage. And so we're finding out the earlier we can get involved, engaged in these kids' lives, that if we can work with those parents who does not have these skill sets, many of them don't know about the 5 protective factors that our program is built on. So we're able to talk to them about parenting, talk to them about, again, we got to gain their trust, but as we work with their children and have events that they come to, we begin to gain their trust. And a lot of them are really opening up with some of our counselors and case managers about the challenge they're having in child rearing. And so it's really been a very interactive spot and for us. And so anyway, we're in the schools providing life skills and mentorship. Some of those kids, by having that extra person there, some of the teachers are there to teach education, but having us there to work with life skills that they may not acquired before they came to school or don't see reinforced in their homes, we're able to help set those standards and work with those kids. So now when you have a morning, a kid comes in that's been up all night because their mother might have been abused by her boyfriend, and they haven't ate before they came to school. They're wearing the same clothes than yesterday, and they're just angry. And the teacher's trying to conduct a class. We now have individuals there that can say, teacher can hey, how's it going this morning, Johnny? Well, just have a seat. I know you're a little upset right now. It's okay. Take a minute. Would you like something to eat? A lot of these kids haven't eaten, but having that extra hand there, we take snacks to all the school, healthy snacks. We're really seeing kids begin to, all the heavy emotions and anger and rage begin to dissipate, and a lot of them begin to open up and share. It's a safe haven. School becomes that safe haven place where we help them transition them so they're now in the mindset to learn. And so some of the schools wish we had more workers there, but it's been very effective and everything. We're trying to help parents and youth make healthy choices. A lot of time, it's wonderful to have the freedom of choice, but making the right choice is important to keeping our freedom. And so we really work very extensively with this program. It's expanded. We just this week got approved for after-school program to be a licensed after-school program. We just didn't want to have we became a licensed after-school program. And you're going to hear a lot more with that, with our STEM projects and and it's good because not only are we working with them with education, we're working with them with behaviorals, working with them with coping skills. There's just so many areas that we work with kids. Each kid that comes to our program, we have our therapists do their opening assessment so that we know the mental state where they are and the emotional state where they are before we start just assuming every kid that comes in is ready to learn and they're in the same place and same space. And so we work very diligently in that area, trying to be culturally minded and sensitive to some of the challenges faced by the scholars of our community. Next slide. Youth Power is a program of opportunity, of empowerment. These are some of the extra things we do outside of just the classroom stuff. We have it where we can do tutorial and homework with them, enhancement of computer skills. Our substance abuse prevention initiative is one that we really strive because this population that we work in, the at-risk population, is at 10 times greater risk of getting engaged in alcohol and substance abuse. And we're finding out that if you get engaged with kids' life and give them some other avenues, they will move away from the mindset of one engaged in substance abuse or mental health, not mental health, but substance abuse and alcohol. And so it's a fact with girls that are involved in sports and other activities, they're less likely to get early teenage pregnancy because they're engaged and building their self-esteem, self-worth. And so those things are very important. Most of our messaging around substance abuse is talking about you're an independent, be the original you. You don't have to emulate anyone else. You know, peer pressure can be a big force upon kids, but we teach them that they're unique and they're important and they have self-power and that their self-power has to supersede peer power. We like to expose them to fine arts and other entrepreneurship opportunities. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the things we do when we get to the summer camp, because summer camp is where youth power really flourishes during the summer. But we do things all year long for kids. We're working now. We're hoping by early May we want to do a mother-son dance. We want to take and teach them proper etiquettes, how to pull the chair out, how to treat their mother, because they know how to treat their mother, then they'll know how to treat a young lady when they get to that stage. I'm from an older generation. When I first started dating in 8th grade, I had to go up to the house and knock on the door and ask the young girls I'd take her to the movies. And then my dad took us to the movie, but we had to go to the early movie, the 7 o'clock movie, and he picked me up and brought us back home and had to walk her back to the door. And I learned early about the importance of building relationships with the parents of the young lady I dated. And so I know we're not going to go back to 1970, 74, but I think some of the principles, some of the morals and values still must be in play, even in our today and change of society. And so these are important values and morals and principles that we try to ingrain in all our programming. It's at the core of what we do. Next slide. As you can see, we have a lot of kids. We expose them to so many different things. I really believe that one of the most essential things you can do with young kids is expose them to things. You don't know what they're good at. You don't know what they're going to like. Everybody's not a ball player. Everybody's not going to go to the NFL. Everybody's not going to go to the NBA. But they can be great engineers. They can be great doctors. They can be great and trades. We need, I don't know about you, but I'm thankful for a plumber. I'm thankful for an electrician. And so there's many trades. So we try to help them find a pathway of things that they love and love to do. We're in the process now. We've just got a new system that we're trying to acquire. I'm trying to raise the $10,000 for it now, but it is a virtual program that has over 42 career paths. And they're able to put they virtual world, so they would put the headset on and they can be a maintenance man in a factory, and it shows them the levers, and it is phenomenal. It's got professional fields as far as medical science. It's got all different areas, but it really rates their aptitude, life interests in different areas, but exposes them. And so during the summer camp, every week, we take them on field trips, trying to expose them to museums. We take them to the not only art gallery, but we take them to the aquarium, take them to the zoo. Last year, we were fortunate to partnership with the Missouri Conservation Department, and many kids had never. We went out to their nature school. We were actually the first group so I tell them we're the pilot before they rolled out with schools last fall. We were there this summer and they opened it up for us. And so they did educational classes out there about different natural plants. And the kids were able to go canoeing, fishing. Some had never shot archery, never did a hike or field. So they got exposed to nature. The agricultural team, they were able to go to work in the community garden. So we try to expose them to a wide range of areas. For many of these kids, they would have been locked at home in their neighborhood and gone nowhere. but we were able to take these kids all over, and it's just amazing. Some of the mothers were saying, even with the teenagers, says I had to fight my kid to get them go to school every day, but they had no problem getting up at 6 a.m. to go to camp. She was just blown away how eager they were to get to a place, and we were structured similar to school. Even in the summer, we have educators that's on staff that work with kids who have IEP and that needs to do extra reading during the summer, writing. So we insert that in the morning session, slide out real unique system we have where they don't feel marginalized. They just go to another group and then they come right back with a times table. And so it's been very, very, very efficient. I hope this summer, if any of y'all would like, please come over, see what we're really doing with some of these kids. It's been just amazing to see them engage in nature, and it was exciting to see a little girl catch her first fish. I mean, she was just see little boys and girls in the canoes, and it's just amazing the different activities they get to experience in the summer. Next slide. We provide meals, breakfast and lunch. We also are the summer food provider in the summer. We start out just feeding camp, but it grew and we feed communities. So we will work with Steve Hollis before he left office and his job. And Columbia only had like 3 sites. I think boys and girls fed there. They fed at the Armory or down at Douglas Park, and I think one of the Columbia Public Housing had a food site. But we were able to add 15 additional food sites in partnership with the parks, with the schools, different parts of the city, some of the most underserved areas of the city, to have food sites. And so in the summer, we serve some 900 kids all summer long at those sites, breakfast and lunch and snacks at those sites. And at the camp, we do breakfast and lunch. We also feed some other daycares and stuff in the summer. We've been blessed with our partners with food. Department of Health Senior Services is our funding source for some of that. But we were able to, our partnership with companies like Tyson's and Cargill's and ConAgra's, those big companies give us truckloads of food. We were blessed. We have a facility in Marshall called Americode, a big food shipping company. They have about 200,000 square foot of freezer space, and they allow us to stack pallets of meat up in there. So we've got about 35 pallets of meat most times, of hamburger, pork chops, steaks, everything you can think of, chicken nugget, chicken strips. And so we're able to bring a lot of meat and resources into Columbia. We also have a clothing company out of Kansas that we go pick up Gaylord boxes full of clothes, truckloads full of clothes, brand new clothes. Some have, zippers, some that need factory stuff redone. But we have people that are working the sticks, but most of them are in good shape. Amazon gives us tons of stuff. And so we have a warehouse here in Columbia that we store a lot of this at, and then we work with different agencies to distribute it throughout the community. But the We Feed Family program is been very beneficial. I wish I had more money for the food program. We actually don't have any funding for it. When we first came here, the city had a program under some ARPA money that we had for 1 year, and we were able to get started. But to bring that here, but to current date, we don't. But I feel that if God gives me the resources, He'll provide the revenue to do what I need to do to get it out. So I just do that, and we just keep bringing the food, and we're able to keep getting it out to where it needs to go. We also partnership with the great agency, Central Food Bank, who's phenomenal in this community, and we work right hand in hand with them. They give us canned goods and other stuff, but the bulk of our meat comes straight from these corporations that gives us stuff. Powerhouse has, that is a loaded question. We have offices in 5 cities. We have right at about 48 full-time employees in all 5 cities. We have about 19 full-time in Columbia and probably about 6 or 7 part-time. In the summer, when we do the summer food, we bolster up about another 40. So in the summer, we run probably 80-some employees. And so we are contributing to the economic stability of the city of Columbia. with our massive payroll, and so we are contributing back in that way as well. Great question, but that's one of our great programs. Next slide. I think we probably got just show you some of our partners here, and it's not all of them. Just like I said, we're still trying to update this. It'd be massive to put them all on there. I'm going to go to the next slide because I think the next slide, this is where I want to go. The other year, we were blessed to get some money from Congress to address the community violence and in our community. And we started a coalition called Unity in the Community with an objective initiative called Building Bridges Over Barriers. And you see all the different barriers that prevent people from accessing a high quality of life. And what this group says is we know that these barriers are realistic, but sometimes we put so much focus on some of these things that we're not teaching people how to cope and adjust. Some of these things are never going to be a reality because some of these things has to deal with another person's heart. Some of these things can be a reality because they're dealing with skills. And so we believe that we've been working on these things, continue to work on these things. But in the meantime, how do we get people that are on the left side of the bridge over to the right side of the bridge if there's no bridge? So people can't swim, there's no boat, there's no airplanes. How do we get them from poverty into a place where they are self-sufficient if there's no connectivity? And so what we decided to do, we must build a bridge of accessibility. And to do that, we have to have the engagement or involvement of the people who need help. And so what Unity Community says is two things. We must go into the neighborhoods to bring real change. We've been working with the schools, we've been working with Boys and Girls Club, we work with them in all their school programs, but at the end of the day, these kids have to go back home to these neighborhoods. If these neighborhoods have high crime, drugs, all flourishing, and we allow that to continue to exist, we're only going to have limited change. So we have to bring real change in the community. And so this group was designed to work with grassroots organizations who may not have resources, but they have the trust of those neighborhoods. You've got a lot of small agencies that are doing work in these neighborhoods and the people trust them because the people look like them, they come from them neighborhoods. And what we're saying is there must be a relationship between smaller agencies and bigger entities that are working together, laying aside our differences, laying aside our contracts, laying aside our grants, and really focus on the issue. So this group here, when we came to this group for the first year, no one was allowed to bring any of their flyers about their agencies because we weren't focusing on agencies. We're focusing on a problem. How can we together bring change if we all got a hidden agenda? Most of the time, group meetings are coming just to tell you what we're doing, then we go back work in silo. We intentionally lay those flyers apart away and say, what can we do together to bring change? And so we decided that we would do neighborhood improvement events. So we took the services to the neighborhoods. A lot of our agencies are only open from 8 to 5. The people that are working from these neighborhoods, they can't get off work. They can't afford to miss a day of work. Many of them don't have transportation. They get dropped off at work and dropped off at home. And so they don't have access to the resources. So we took resources in these neighborhoods in the evening from 4 to 7. And so we had people that had never been to the Merritt, never been out to Indian Hills, this only thing I'd heard about was on TV, that went into these neighborhoods, set up their booths. It was wonderful seeing the different agencies, VAC and Burrell and all the other great agencies in the city come set up a tent. And so we've had over 38, 40 agencies take resources into these neighborhoods, set up a tent. We have fun food and stuff to get the people out. And it's been amazing to see people engage in services and get services these people have never had service before. And so it's been amazing to see some of the results. And even the agencies that go, if you talk to them, they'll tell you there's been nothing like this. Our goal is to improve neighborhood and health safety. Some of these neighborhoods are unsafe. They don't have street lights, they don't have speed bumps. People are just driving through there crazy. And so we want to see change in some of the structural environmental changes. Want to decrease neighborhood stereotype and stigma. There are good people living in some of these underserved neighborhoods, these kids and family we're working with. And so, am I out of time, Barbara? Okay. I just need about 2 more minutes. I'm right done. And so by having a news company come over there and see there's people who got food gardens in their neighborhood that they're feeding their neighbors with. And so it just changed the ideology of the neighborhoods, and it's just been very efficient. The police department, the fire department, a partnership when it's going in the neighborhood, coming housing has opened up. It's just been amazing to see us work selflessly in these veins, trying to bring change in the neighborhoods. We're working along with the city, with Sean and Johnston. They've got some small grant money they're getting ready to give to some of the neighborhood improvement. One of the things we said is important is we can no longer go do this stuff. People have been entitled long enough. We must now rally them and teach them to advocate for themselves if we're going to have long sustainability change in our neighborhoods. We've got to find champions that live there that we can get along with and help them build their own, just like a neighborhood improvement out in another in a good neighborhood. We've got to put a neighborhood improvement team together in their neighborhood and then assist them in building community gardens, planting trees, cleaning up the neighborhood, petition the city for speed bumps or lighting in their neighborhood. And so we're empowering them as residents of what their rights are and what they need in their neighborhoods. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I think that was the last slide. This is some of the events we do. The back to school, over 2,000 backpack school supplies we do every year. The Halloween, the big Thanksgiving. We were excited and was honored to keep Miss Amita Creighton, her vision and her mission going. And I've tried very diligently every year to make sure people know this is her event. We're just, Powerhouse is just keeping it alive. Then our Christmas event. And with that, if there's any time for questions, I don't know. I was trying to get through all this a lot to unpack, but a lot of asked questions along the way. You can volunteer. The Unity community has a page, Facebook page. You can connect there on. You can connect with our Columbia office, and they will get you connected with our community liaison. We have Erica Buford is working with me there. Trina Hernandez, she's working. We have several people that is working on that community side. And so they will definitely connect you with the right people. We're always needing people that can come in and to the warehouse. One of the big things we have now is have some college fraternities and sororities come in and go and sorting the clothes so we can get them all sorted, fix hygiene kits. This stuff is available to anybody in the community that needs it. We're just a broker for it. We've been blessed to get it, bring it into Columbia, and I'm hoping that Columbia can become a distribution center for this central area for anybody agencies that need clothes or people needing clothes can just come get them and take them and get them to the people they need. I just want to get funding to be able to bring stuff in, and then the agencies that are doing great work through Unity Community can get them out where they need to go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Wow. What a bright light and so much good you're doing. And I'm glad you shared how we can volunteer and donate. This has been really enlightening, and it's such an extensive and effective program. It's really quite amazing and encouraging. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I'd like to encourage people to share the YouTube video to other people. There's a lot of people that have no idea, and we really had no idea about how extensive this was. So we really need to get this out to people to take advantage of the services as well as to contribute. So thank you so much. And then I just want to tell people that our next Lunch and Learn program is March 12th, and it will be on the MU Research Reactor, very different subject. And our speaker will be Uriah Orland, who's the Research Reactor Director of Communication. So we want people to tune in next month also. But thank you again, and just amazing work and such good understanding and interaction with the community. It's really impressive and laudable. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you all for allowing me to share. One of the challenges we have a lot of times is that we do so many programs. It's like going to a smorgasbord. When you think of steak, you think going to steakhouse. Seafood, they going to seafood house. But we do so many programs that sometimes some of the Pacific programs get washed in. and included in, just for standing. So, especially like with the fatherhood, we've been here doing fatherhood. We've got the we actually started a fatherhood diversion court. It's the third one in the state. And Powerhouse, that's how we came here. We came to Columbia because Judge Shaw wanted us to bring the fatherhood program here 5 years ago. And after we got here, we started doing other programs. And a lot of people got about the fatherhood program, but it's always at my heart, near and dear, because if we don't bring change with these kids, we're going to see what we see now in the next generation. And I really hope we can break that cycle. Again, thank you for allowing us to share. We're just honored the great opportunity and the work you all do as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank everyone for listening. Thank you, Lauren, also on the Columbia Public Library.
Thank
Yes.
Have a
you.
good day.
All right.
Take
So-
care.